Yo, what is up, everybody? This is King Hitman here, and I have some info. It doesn't matter if you've been playing 2 months or all 6 years. This is important. I think everybody should know this like the back of their hand. Very important for how damage is calculated in Dokkan for you and for your enemy. A thorough guide. Thank you to Noob Legend on Reddit. I appreciate him, man. I hope everybody gives you credit, stops by your page. Give them some positive comments, man. This is important. This is important. Some of this stuff I actually didn't know. I'm not even gonna lie. Now, first things first, of course, we know about the type advantage buffs. We know about super and extreme class. Oh, by the way, actually, no, let me not skim over that. If you didn't know, super does slightly more damage to extreme class and vice versa. Keep that in mind when you're team building. I'm gonna try to keep, like, I don't know, pace this video for new players and older players. So if it seems like I don't know, simplifying it, like, oh, duh, I know, duh. Like, not everybody knows this. So keep up with me, all right? Bear with me. Now, these numbers are obviously modifiers. All of this is based off of how your damage will be outputted versus what it should be, or like what your calculations say when you're super attacking. All of this stuff comes into play. This applies to you and your enemies. Now, for a super versus super class enemy, or extreme versus extreme class type advantage, you will get a type buff of 1.25 times whatever your number says. Obviously, this is not calculating like each enemy's specific mitigations and the defensive stat. This is just what would be if there were no defensive barriers. Type neutral, you will stay flat at 100% or a 1 times buff. Nothing will change. Of course, that makes the most sense. Type disadvantage, you will have a 0.45 times buff of what you should be, so a 45% buff. Or no, excuse me, a 45% output of what you should have done. Opposite alignment, super versus extreme class, type advantage, you will get a 50% damage buff of what you would be normally be doing, so a 1.5 times multiplier. Type neutral, you will get a 1.15 times multiplier, a 15% increase on your normal damage. And type disadvantage, you will get half of your damage cut off. So obviously we want to avoid type advantage regardless of super and extreme class alignments. Next up, hidden potential system. The type attack boost, of course, we know in the hidden potential system, honestly, it seems like it's the most useless part of it, but debatable, I guess. Maybe that and the healing. Healing is useful, I'm not gonna lie. So probably this. But anyway, the type attack boost, it increases your type advantage multiplier when your unit attacks a unit of type disadvantage. When an int type unit attacks a tech type unit, AGL, STR, of course, it increases the damage you will do on those turns. However, what he is going to go on to say, units like Janemba and Gogeta who force type advantage, it doesn't apply to them in every situation. It only applies when they have natural, I'm gonna say, color advantage. I know that's more of a Legends term, but color advantage, that's really important for what we're saying here. So make sure, if you don't go like, oh, I should give my Gogeta complete type buffs, and then why is his damage still the same against STR? That's not how it works. All right, so let's keep going. Type defense boost, of course, now we're talking the same thing, but for defensively, each increase is a 5% damage increase per level. So at level 10, it's 1.75 times multiplier and 8. It will double your damage if you get it fully leveled up. You guys see what I'm saying? So at level 10 for the type defensive boost, you will get a 0.35 times multiplier and a 0.4 times multiplier, meaning you'll take even less damage the more you level it up, obviously. Next up, we have the order of operations. Type modifiers are applied at different times depending on whether or not the the attacker is advantaged or disadvantaged. The calculation order is as follows. The player's damage reduction, any form of mitigation you have, if the enemy is the attacker, a random coefficient, he's going to get into that later. Actually, let me go back to it right now. The random coefficient, it means there's literally a random amount of damage that your enemy or you will increase up to 3%. That's why you'll rarely see the exact same damage number, even if the enemy's defensive, like they don't have their defense lowered or anything like that. You'll do the two supers of the exact same attack stat. It'll come out slightly different. That is why the random coefficient. Now, for the attacker's type modifier, if it's greater than 1 times of a multiplier. The second thing that's calculated is the defender's defensive stat, obviously. And then number 3, the enemy's damage reduction. If the enemy is the defender, that is what is prioritized last. The enemy's type modifier, if it's 1 times or lower, and then a counterattack multiplier, of course, the Vegetos of the world. And then once again, this applies to you and your enemies. If I'm confusing anybody, I apologize. Ask me in the comment section. I'm trying to make this not too long of a video so everybody is like Dokkan 101. I want everybody to understand what's going on, but I don't want to keep you guys here all day. Attacks effective against all types. All type modifiers are brought up a minimum of 50%, so 1.5 times buff. A reminder that type attack boost only affects, like I said, natural type advantage. Disabling guard, all type modifiers are brought up to a minimum of 1 times multiplier for the STRUI Goku super attack effects, which is, it's still a stupid super attack effect. But I guess, whatever, it'll make it so at least it feels like you're type neutral, but type neutral feels like 0.8 or 0.9% of what you would, or excuse me, 80 or 90% of your normal damage compared to type advantage, which is 150% of what your damage would be compared to your attack stat. Crits do 3 things. Of course, type effective against all attacks. They multiply whatever damage you're gonna do times 25%, or no, it gets a buff of 25%, so 1.2 times multiplier. Defense, I mean, we all know enemy defense in this game is really, it's annoying. Like, great lowering defense doesn't exactly do much. I mentioned the random coefficient already. It is applied before defense is considered for damage. And then the counterattack multiplier, we know most units have tremendous or enormous. Tremendous, pretty much what you'll find every single time. And then enormous is for the SSRs and the free-to-play units that counter, like the AGL, Vegeta, and Bulma unit from like way back when. Units like that. This is applied after defense, which is why counters are weak against enemies with naturally high defensive stats, the UI Gokus of the world. That's why it's like that when your AGL Super Vegito is doing like 10k versus 400k against his earlier stages. You guys see what I'm saying? So if this helped you at all, if this helped you learn anything, appreciate a like. I would love a subscription. And please comment any confusion, any questions you might have if you are confused. I will try to explain it best I can. I'm not a Dokkan calculator though, alright? So I can't fix everything. I'm not one of these APT guys. I don't know every answer to every question. But I appreciate your time. I hope I informed you or entertained you. This is King Hitman. You know what's up. Check out my other videos. Appreciate y'all, man. Have a good one.